All right, let's go. We're live. Back to part two. So where we left off was, well, in the last session, what did we talk about? We talked about that we don't want to be bullied out of competition. We don't want to be commoditized. We want to be able to stand out in a sea of clutter. We got to know our math because our math creates clarity, confidence, and ability to focus to hit our goals. And usually that starts by looking at our past so that we can then create a brighter future. We talked about the YouTube, the traffic, but then I started teaching that 70 to 90% of the clicks do not convert, which means hot prospects are still searching. This is the big aha. This is what, when I was sitting there at the personal injury mastermind that I attended with Ken Hardison, nobody talked about, like nobody. And the dirty little secret inside agencies is that because it takes some work, but it's work that's usually done once. And then you don't have to do it again when we talk about creating a trust flywheel using micro budgets. That's pillar one. I don't want you to say you only have to do it one time. Now, the part two of it was the algorithm changes. We're not going to get in there right now. I already talked about in the last session. I'll talk about how to actually fix it. But what's happening is this is not only about your clicks. This is super important to understand. This is not only about your clicks. This is everybody's clicks. Everybody's. So 70 to 90% of the people that are clicking on things don't go to that person. They call, hey, I call this intake center. They suck. I call somebody else. Even if they're really good, I might still go call somebody else. I'm looking for somebody I'm familiar with who I can trust. So that's where there's a booming opportunity for you. Just letting you know that. Booming opportunity. Because that's where like the Morgan and Morgans are doing us a favor. That's where like the postman putting his billboard everywhere, doing us a favor. Why? Because they're creating awareness. They're getting people into the interwebs, searching and calling and clicking and doing about those things. I already kind of addressed that. And, when I first, let me tell you a quick analogy before I go into this, the invisible funnel. But I wanted to create this as a slide. We're going to have to create it. But I want you to think about like a golf. I want you to think about like a fairway, right? And so the person that is who's got the ball the closest to the hole, what are we doing? We're just tapping them in. So a lot of the videos that are on your website that you've spent 25K, 15K, 50K from that are really pretty, okay? And you stuck them on your things. Those are only converting the people that are already on the green looking to get tapped in, okay? What I'm telling you is that this invisible funnel list has people at all stages of awareness after they see this ad, after they see this ad, right? Let me just shrink my face so you can see more. Like call top dog, car accident, work injury, blah, blah, blah. They go into this invisible ecosystem, the new invisible funnel. There's not a linear left to right progression. I wish there was, right? We used to be able to just say, hey, what was our click? What was our conversion rate? How many signed up? Now they see an ad, they go to your website. Well, then they go to YouTube. Now they might call, and then they circle back and they need to get retargeted too. Does that make sense? They go check your reviews out. They hit search. They're everywhere, right? So what we need to do is be able to be everywhere, and we need to do that by solving their problem. Ed, what is their problem? Their problem is they have a bunch of questions that you and your team answer every month, uh, dozens of times. But if you go a step out, not on the green, you're not on the green anymore. We got a 56 or a 52 or whatever. We're actually just off the green, or say we're in the bunker, or say we're in the rough right outside the green. Now we need another tool. Okay. Are you tracking me a little bit? They're further away from being just tapped in. So your authority brand video that's cute is not specifically answering their question. It's not getting them on the green. Okay. And then we go a little bit further back, and all of a sudden you're using a 52 or a 56, and then you got a pitching wedge, and then you got, your 7-iron, and then you go all the way out here to a driver. What these guys are doing here, fellas, is they're picking up the driver for all of us, and they're putting it in the middle of the fairway, halfway down, and now we have to have inside our arsenal a bunch of different tools. I like starting with videos because videos could be, well, no, I'm not even telling you, like, you have to do this. This is not a joke anymore. Like, if you're trying to win, you need to have videos that answer the different questions they have as they move along the fairway. Otherwise, you're negating a large portion of the population, which is why our conversion rates are so freaking low, like across the whole thing. And then you got to be everywhere, because guess what? People search everywhere now. They're bouncing around all over the place. But what is the advantage of being everywhere? The advantage of being everywhere is you're seen as being everywhere. So we accelerate our familiarity. We must be someone important because we're everywhere. And we're not spending ridiculous sums of money like these guys are, because we don't have to. We could be everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube with micro budgets, even in like with all these places. You don't even have to spend a lot of money. Okay, cool. So what am I talking about here? All right. So people looking for immediate. So the way you build trust is you solve an immediate, urgent pain that's happening right now. You can't get a settlement right now, right? You just can't do that. So me saying I got a $20 million settlement for a truck wreck case, it's not my concern right now. I'm trying to figure out a different issue. And like whatever that issue is, we're talking about the golf course now, right? We're just answering questions around their stages of awareness. We have to meet them where they're at. Does that make sense? And by having assets that do that, you now leverage your capability of reaching way more people. Okay. So they're actively seeking a solution. Speed is vital. So that's one of the other things. Speed is vital. Like why finding an attorney is vital. So we go to speed. We go to authority and trust. All of this kind of stuff could be answered in a simple little video like this. 5 questions to ask an injury attorney before you hire him. That's one. Now you could say, number one question you need to ask yourself before you call insurance or an attorney. Okay, what's the question? And the frame I love using in any industry, any niche, anything you're doing is you say, with every single question, you say, most people think that this is what they're supposed to be doing. However, what you really need to ask yourself, and then you tell them what to ask themselves. So like, I'm a trial attorney. Why does it matter if they're a trial attorney or not? Because there's different types of PI firms. Some are looking to settle right away. We don't. That's why we get the maximum settlements. Simple. That is simple, right? Guess what? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. So you have to tell them the question they need to ask in order to do that. None of these things, and I just kind of whited out these guys' faces. I just didn't want to embarrass anybody. But this is what most people are doing. Like these guys look like a good father and son. So I figured I'd keep their face there, right? Like this is nice. That's cute. But that is for people that are already near the green. Does that make sense? They're ready to get tapped in. I don't even think that helps much, to be honest with you, because I could argue that car, semi, truck accident, 4.4 million. I can argue like, well, they sound like they're really they're really successful. I don't know if they'd ever want to work with someone like me. That's an internal objection that has nothing to do with you. That has something to do with them. So guess what solves that? A simple video. It says like, well, how do I know if I should actually call, Vaughn and Vaughn law firm? Like, how do I know you would take someone like my case? And then the video is like, hey, one of the most commonly asked questions we get from people is their case something we would look at and help them with? And so let me share a little bit about the types of cases that we love helping with. And this will help you decide whether or not we're the right fit for you. And guess what you get to do on that video? You get to tell people exactly how to choose your law firm by helping them decide whether or not they qualify or not. Okay. And the best part about it is you eliminate all the people who shouldn't call intake, and you suck in more people that are like, yeah, I watched the video of Charles Vaughn Sr. And I have exactly what he described in the video. What are my next steps? That's why I'm calling. Do you see the difference in that feel? Now, does it happen overnight? It could. You know, you list out a couple things. You give videos like this to your intake, to your referral sources, to your team. You start posting them on social. How do you know whether or not you should call Vaughn and Vaughn Law Firm? That's a great way to get people. I don't know, should I? And then they watch the video, and you're self-selecting people out. You're self-selecting people in. I never heard anyone talking like this at all. Because this is the opposite of what it feels like, right? Now because you might be like, Ed, why is this bad? That's not bad. There's nothing bad. Like, I'm not saying you're bad. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying this is bad. Okay. Because what's happening is you get these cases, but that's what everyone's promoting. So how do I stand out besides that? And for everything you promote, there's an internal objection of somebody. So as good as you get, like, there's never this, like, once I get there, then I'll be good enough. You're never going to be good enough. You already are good enough. You now have to just realize your content has to do the heavy lifting for you. Okay. So where you will have authority content that solves your prospect's problem at scale. So scale means we got leverage. So if I can get Mike to record a video that says what to do in the first 12 to 24 hours, speed matters. If I get you to record that video, if Mike explains to somebody in his office or at the hospital or at their kitchen table, whatever it might be, right? And he says, hey, you guys really got to jump on this. Here's why it's important to get started, right? They have a great little micro video. It's another hidden video where he talks about how the insurance company and the trucking company are already mobilized and have attorneys and have private investigators going out there to make sure that you do not get the maximum settlement. So every day that goes by, they're gaining the edge, right? People don't know to ask that. If you have a video and he explains that one-on-one, or 1 to 300 or 1 to 3,000, that's leverage at scale. Okay. And having that video up on YouTube, another version of it created every 6 months, because that's a really important one. When I heard the reasons to hire an attorney right away, I was like, oh, there's your urgency. Like that's, I don't need to put pressure on you. I'm just going to explain this to you. Puts pressure on you. Does that make sense? Like positive pressure. Like, you don't need to choose us, but I'm just gonna let you know that this is what's going on right now. And this is a really good first one. And if there were 7 things to do, you could just cut them up into 7 pieces, or have 7 different variations, or have one really good variation. Either way, it'll work for you. Okay. And then why hiring a trial attorney matters for bigger cases. So do you see what I'm doing here? I'm just kind of sequencing what to do right away. Now, why we're different. So imagine they're on your YouTube channel and they're going from video 1 to video 2 to video 3. And you're just sequencing through the conversation. And this is really helpful stuff. Like, hey, one of the questions that most people don't realize when hiring, like if they're in a truck wreck, there's a catastrophic injury, there's something that's going on. How do you choose the right personal injury attorney? Now, the mistake a lot of people make is, and go through the mistakes. Okay. What they really need to ask is, boom, 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 boom. That's what we do. And let me explain that a little bit. And then you go into like the successes you've had. When we get a truck wreck case, first thing we do is this, second thing is this, third thing is this. Let me give you a couple of examples. Example. And so now you just demonstrated that. You're up on an authoritative third-party platform called YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, all over the freaking place. They find you everywhere. You have a page on your website that you take these YouTube videos and you start putting them in there into your, like, link to them. Every single page on your site should drive to your education conversion platform, right? This is all really good stuff. The enemy frame and curiosity. This is really good. I don't see any videos on this, right? Again, this is called the enemy frame, and it builds curiosity. What's the enemy frame? The enemy frame is that there's always an enemy in order to build alliance. Okay, could be in anything, right? So let me give you an example. In dentistry, like one of the big enemies is private equity. Private equity is coming in, it's commoditizing the whole place. Now you're just getting, squeezed. I created an enemy in the beginning of it, but I showed you how you can align with the enemy. The bully method, that's an enemy, right? The big budget spenders, they're drowning you out. But guess what? I have a solution for you. Same thing is true here. It's like you've got to have an enemy. So who we fight against, right? So we talk the insurance companies, enemies, the PIs of the truck wreck company, or the truck companies, enemy. The trucking company is an enemy. Why? Because they're going to go why do they have people on scene? This could be another 90-second, 3-minute video. It could be answered in an interview, which is the format that I like starting with, because we can get a lot of this content out of you just by asking the questions. So like one of the things you brought up, or one thing I want to ask you about is like, why do truck companies get lawyers and private investigators on the scene like immediately? Like why it's deployed? And then it gives you the frame to answer that. Like, well, the reason why that is because blah, 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 and you do the whole thing, right? It's pretty powerful stuff. Social proof and logical reasoning. Now, this is another thing, 10 reasons why people hire us, right? So I took this off their website. This is all dormant assets, right? Now, what I wanted to show you, this is very, very important. This is older. This is, does that say 2002? That's a train wreck. It's not truck wreck, but I want to show you this because I built this out prior to this deck. And then I took a magazine, Trial Lawyers for the Toughest Cases, Best Lawyers. Okay, cool. Great. Amazing, right? So ask yourself, if I went and said, hey, John, what are like 10 reasons why people should hire your law firm? You wouldn't answer that, but I would actually frame it differently. But we could actually literally take ChatGPT. I have certain prompts, have it go read your whole website, come back with that, and then you literally could take. I'm using a Sony camera for this training, but you could take a video, like an iPhone, have one of your kids or somebody who works for you literally stand there and be like, hey, what are all the reasons why people should hire us? And one of the questions we get a lot is, and that's a great frame too, by the way. One of the questions I get a lot is, why choose our firm over the thousands of firms that are out there? So there's a lot of great firms out there. Always validate people. Don't put them down. What I like to pride ourselves in are, and then just go through all the reasons. It could be 5. It could be 3. It could be 7. It could be 10. It could be 21. But what you're doing there is you're building out logical reasoning and allowing people that are very high fact finders, and they need to have a lot. They're like, I don't do anything emotional, like that whole BS, but they like to look at all the reasons, and then they find reasons that fit their internal, what do you call it? People don't make decisions unless they feel certain, and they got to feel good. And so some people need a lot more reasons, right? This can be you, equipped to win with the big ones. $55 million settlement. Watch before you hire an attorney. This is another way. So like last one here, why hire us? Boom, I take the same frame and we just use another angle. Hey, why don't you tell us about the $55 million settlement? Now, one thing I would want to bring up, right? Do you like $5 million settlements? Do you like multi-million-dollar settlements? Do you like $500,000 settlements? If your firm does handle those, when I bring up this, I have to bring up in the beginning, hey, so yeah, no, we're super proud of the work we've done with people. I can't wait to share about this. What I want people to know before they get with it, and then you got to lay out the criteria of what you're looking for, what you're searching for. If you've just been in a truck wreck, and you may look at the story I'm about to tell you, and you may say like, I'm not big enough for them. That I want to stop you right there. And I want to bring up, like, if you fit in this category and you have your little pitch, like we'll work on it together. Like, but it all comes off your ideal clients, right? Then call us. We will review your case. We'll give you a free assessment, and we'll let you know. But either way, if we don't handle it, we can recommend you out. You want that inbound coming in. The problem with just leading with, and I'm kind of pointing at my screen, the problem with leading with these big settlements without, like, not disclaimers, but reassurance, is that you could negate people. Does that make sense? And so this looks really good. I mean, I throw this up on any website. You guys are going to get clicks. This is called a thumbnail. This would get clicks, right? If yeah, I mean, this would get a lot of clicks, right? And this is just kind of me right here. I threw myself in there. I use myself a lot in these until we get a big arsenal of clients. How to think about your possible settlement value. Again, just why? What are they asking about, right? How to think about case values and settlement values. Why? Because that's the questions they're going to ask, right? That's what they're really thinking. Like, is this a big one? Blah, blah. How do I pay my bills, my medical bills while in a lawsuit? It's a great question. Great question. Got to get answered, right? If you answer that, you build trust, familiarity. They know you better, they like you better, and they keep coming, right? And so what I like doing is I have a slide. I think it's later in this, but I don't know if I used it for this training. But it's called one of my mentors, Daniel Priestley, virtual mentor, just really, really bright guy out of Australia. Is he Australia or England? I don't know. They all sound the same to me. But he talks about assets before income. And what you need to understand is you need to be stacking assets, because the assets are what we're doing is we're building out intent and conversion assets in our content. Okay. And by doing that, we build authority, trust, likeness, familiarity, and celebrityship, which I'll talk about celebrityship here in a second. The key thing, though, is you never know what is going to be the asset that converts. And you never know where they're at in the buyer behavior cycle. Where are they at on the golf course? Are they already on the green and they just want to see the 10 reasons why people choose us? Here's a couple of social proof things. I still think you just need to have it all, because it just makes their certainty so much higher. Whereas what should I do within minutes of a truck accident, or within the first, 12 hours? Well, that person's further back, but guess what? You just answered a question. Yeah, just as an accident. I need to know right now what I'm doing. You just solved a problem. You just alleviated fear, right? You just took worry and concern away. And now you're the guy, right? Now, when the family says, well, why should we hire them? They'll send the YouTube channel to them. They don't send the website, because the websites are cluttered and confused. People don't like websites as much as they used to. But what this also does, guys, just so we're on the same page, is it stacks all your channels so that your intent algorithm is guaranteed to have you in it. If people have this intent, you're there, right? In any of these places. We got YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Google, Google My Business. You post videos, you put stuff in there, reviews. Reddit is the new thing. I'm not as familiar with Reddit. I heard it's amazing, but MSN, I'm sorry, LinkedIn, it's owned by MSN. MSN owns ChatGPT, so this is all evolving. No matter what, you could take all this stuff, give it to your SEO company, and guess what? They're just going to love it, because it gives them so much stuff like that. The invisible small hinge that swings big doors. So now, what is the other thing? I want to just back up. Okay, so are we good? Is this making sense to you? Are you seeing how very few, less than 1% of personal injury attorneys are doing this, right? And then you can go on YouTube today and look in your area, and you could find nobody in your area is doing this. How do I know? Because if they are, you probably already know who they are, and they're stealing up market share that you're unaware is out there for you. Okay. That's not something to be defeated about. That's something to be better about. Okay. I mean, literally, I could take 3 of you guys in the same market, because of your different personalities, you'd only help each other. Because if I see a guy like Mike, I want to go to a guy like Mike. If my neighbor over here, who's a little bit older than me, who has red hair, sees a guy like Tim, he might want to go see Tim, right? So I'm a big believer also too. Like I look at Morgan & Morgan, I look at all these other ones. Each attorney should have these, not just the company has one set. Like position your attorney better. Like if you have multiple lawyers in your firm, they should have their suite of authority content. Oh, so you're just going to push me on this person and I got to read this 1-page bio? Like, and I'm supposed to like trust them? No, I'll go to a local. I'll go to somebody local. You see how we just took big firm disadvantage, little firm, small firm advantage, small firm disadvantage. Now I turn into like, well, we have all these attorneys and we have resources and we have an ecosystem, right? Okay. So where does this all come from? Why is this important? So if you don't believe me, I don't really need you to believe me. The why behind this is because Google has shown that 7, 11, and 4 concept is never more important. What is 7, 11, 4? 7 hours of content. 7 hours of content people need before they make a big decision. Do they always do 7 hours? No, but that's on average. That means some people research for 10 hours. That means some people research for 3 hours, right? 11 touch points. I actually think it's more than that. Okay. Across 4 platforms. So the platforms would be Google PPC, Billboard, radio, TV, email, text message, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Those are all touch points. Okay. And we create the content, which allows you, we create a book, which I'll show you in a second. So 7 hours for people to know you, like you, and trust you enough to hire you, to exchange money with you. 11 touch points. Google's research identified that consuming content about your brand across 11 touch points, 4 different locations before they are ready to make the all-important decision to buy, which is to hire you. That is why we stack assets and channels and lead with case-specific marketing. Okay. Now, very important case-specific marketing over overall brand marketing. It's very expensive to try and go overall brand marketing. Tip of the spear, get known extremely well for something first. Big time. I mean, you do that. You do all those smaller ones, keep the lights on and keep the fuel going. But if you want to create celebrity and authority, these are the highest paid people in any industry. You can go to ChatGPT and say, bring up the highest paid personal injury attorneys of all time. Like, give me the top 30. And you're going to know that they all have celebrityship, authority, and invested in their personal brand. So this is where I just talk about good news, bad news stuff. We're going to keep going here because you already know this, right? The dream scenario is that you craft your narrative, your brand, your message, and perceive valuable that attracts the exact clients that you want, and you win. So that's the beauty of both worlds. You can have it all, right? I'm going to go through this a little bit. We want you to be the in-demand go-to for truck wrecks, right? Now, what's really cool about that is that when you invest time in pillar number 1, you get the roadmap. Okay. Guess what? Pillar number 2 might be, say, construction accidents. Guess what? That's even an easier market to dominate, right? Because I don't see anybody out there. Now, you might be like, hey, but we get a lot of that from referrals. Good. Exactly right. Exactly right. Don't you want your referral sources to perceive you as the legitimate ultimate authority? And they know that the person who's producing content, putting it on YouTube, which is a YouTube TV station now, has more authority than the guy who just says he's really good at it. The guy who says he's really good might be better than the one who's on YouTube, but the general population doesn't know. The celebrity, everyone knows that you are the best, most in demand, highest fees, and see you everywhere. Can you say that this is true for you? My guess is the answer is not where you want to be if you're watching this, right? And so Morgan & Morgan, right now, John is doing a tour of podcasts. I think he's promoting a new book, right? And he's on all my biggest favorite podcasts, right? He doesn't have to pay to be on those podcasts. Anybody would take him on because he's great. He makes things move. But if you had to create celebrityship by modeling that, we would just do a quick little search in your area. Be like, what are podcasts in the Chicagoland area that are looking for experts? And then we would just say, hey, let's get you on like 5 of these. Not to, it's very interesting, not to expect a lot of business from it, but now we use it as part of your propaganda flywheel. Okay. My interview of you, I believe it should be your first thing. And I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you more why in a second, right? Because it's going to lay the foundation. It's going to get you really good at answering questions and setting up the construct that then you tell the other podcasts, this is how you ask me questions. Or these are the questions I'm accustomed to. A lot of people have, because a lot of like news stations and whatever, they're just trying to put stuff out there that's valuable. And no one watches news anyway, like locally. I'm kind of kidding, but I like making fun of those people too. Okay, great. So you say, hey, great, but how do we do all this stuff, right? Well, we use AI tools and custom GPTs, prompts. And what I do is I find what is viral on YouTube. So I'm going to show you a slide in a second. Based on what people are searching for and based on what your best clients ask. Okay. So we don't only focus on search, even though YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. Google, YouTube, ChatGPT, and all that stuff. And AI is rapidly becoming, getting up there, right? So we go look at what's viral, what is working now, and what are people asking. You already know all these answers, but what you don't know is how we have to package it. That's what we do. Okay. And I'll show you a couple examples. We replicate it. We don't try to be totally unique and different. You know why? Because you already are unique and different. We don't have to make up stuff. Okay. We just got to say, hey, if somebody needs to know this question about what to do in the first 12 hours after a truck accident, even if they look at that 72 hours later, that's still relevant to them because it's immediate. Okay. Nobody else is doing that. And improve the highest viewed videos, blah, 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 to get buyer intent. That's what we do on YouTube. Direct response video ads on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So then what we do is the invisible audience. I would challenge you that we put 20, 30, 40 bucks a day, 50 bucks a day across all these videos that we create together. And with Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube and Google, we wait till people hit any of your platforms because we're using paid ads to do that in organic. Once they hit anything that you own, Facebook, Instagram page, website, they watch videos that are up on Instagram or Facebook, watch videos that are up on YouTube. I'm more concerned about Facebook and Instagram, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We could be everywhere in their world immediately for simply $1 a day per video. Boom, 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 boom. And they will click, they will consume, and they will be like, this guy or gal is everywhere. It's unbelievable. We start with YouTube, and then we syndicate to all major platforms. That's from a organic video perspective. We use AI to get all the buyer questions. So this is what Google's telling me: how to choose the best truck accident lawyer. What kind of lawyer do I need to sue a truck company? These are the questions they're asking, guys. These are your first 10 videos, 12 videos, right? If you want to do that today, literally today, that's why I said, if you buy this, if you're a fast mover, we literally could just take those titles, stick them on a YouTube video, and you can do this. Hey, you see my phone's cracked. That's what happens when you have 7 kids. A lot of things break around you. And just have this video. You go, boom. Hey, how to choose, what kind of lawyer do I need to sue a truck company? Hey, and this is your video right here. You want to hear what it says? Hey, hey, I'm at O'Keefe with O'Keefe and O'Keefe, a law firm. We specialize in helping people that were in truck wrecks, accidents, injuries. And one of the biggest questions we get is, what kind of lawyer do I need to sue a trucking company? Okay, cool. Well, we do this every day. So let me just give you an example of the questions you should be asking and what kind of lawyer you need. And then you just give them the answers, right? We have scripts, we have outlines and stuff like that, but you already know the answers to this. So that's why I always try to make things easier for you. How long does it take to settle? This is another question. How long does it take to settle a semi-truck accident case? Cool. So how this I open up like boom. How long does it take to settle a semi-truck accident case? If you've been involved with a truck wreck, an accident, you've been injured, or a family or a loved one, and you're wondering, and you throw in the question, "Hi, I'm Ed O'Keefe with O'Keefe and O'Keefe Law Firm, and today we're going to cover how long does it actually take to settle a case." Right? Well, what you may have heard is that this type of case could settle in this amount of time. But what we do at our firm is we want the max settlement amount for your case. And so what we do is slightly differently than what you might see at firms that are just trying to settle. And that's why it's really important that you have a lawyer with trial experience behind them and is willing to go all the way. And let me give you a quick case study and a little example. This is where you throw in a past example. Now, so I would say when we did the $55 million case, we had everyone prepped. We did all the depositions. We were all there. And then the night before, they settled for $55 million. Now, their first offer was $5 million. And so think about that. What is the difference in your life experience if in your family, in your next generation, with that kind of settlement over settling as quickly as humanly possible? Okay. Now, if you're worried about how you're going to pay your medical bills or cash flow, your attorney fees, well, let me explain that as well. So I have good news. And then that's where you alleviate fears, worries, concerns. Always remember, you're going back to alleviating fears, worries, concerns of them. That is how you solve immediate, urgent pains, even before you meet people. So when they come to you, they're like, "Oh man, thanks for everything." And you're like, why are you thanking me? Like, this is the first time we met. Well, no, I watched all your videos and you helped us through our problems and da, 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 da. And, we were going to choose our neighbor. And then, when we saw the videos, we're like, "Oh my gosh, this is the person we need to hire. They totally understand our case, our problem, and where we're currently at." Now, if all you did was take this one slide and go with it, you're off to the races, buddies. Okay. Now, this is the other thing is that you don't need to make stuff up from the get-go. Now, these are just different examples now, but I want to explain to you what thumbnails were. So thumbnails are just what's on like truck accident settlement value. This person had 2.4 thousand views. Is that a good thumbnail? It's decent. It's decent. But you see these red things, they're telling me, and they tell us, we use a certain software that tells us, okay, when they posted this video, it got 100 times more views than their other videos. So it's kind of a hot topic, right? And so look at this. Can I sue the truck driver's trucking company for my injuries? Boom. Where are they at? They're in Pennsylvania. And look at that thumbnail. Boom. There's a thing. So that's a hot question right there. And no one really needs your do you see how like the Nagel and Associates, they don't care about that. That's wasted space right there, folks. I'm just letting you know. Like if I'm going to put your if I'm going to put your logo or your name, man, we're doing this in the lower left corner or lower right corner. Like they're not going to remember that. They don't care. They're asking a question. And so what I might do there is put like a face, your face, or somebody in your firm that is like, boom. And then we ask that question. You got to try, this is great imagery. And when we split test, like multiple different things. So that's how you get these things to just start getting better and better. And that's why you can have the same question. One of them takes off and the other one doesn't. Well, hey, guess what? We're going to find the best ones for you. And then we keep getting better. Right. This is okay. Ninja trick. You want to know a ninja trick? Write it down. If they're asking themselves, can I sue the truck driver's trucking company for my injuries? That is a 1-minute video. What's the other thing that they might be asking? How do I sue the truck companies for my injuries? Okay, it's a different video. So now what happens is you're using the bully method, but you're not out spending people. You're now capturing more of their brain, like of the awareness brain capacity, because you're filling a void, right? And so one of the things we know from search engine optimization and AEO, which is AI engine optimization, it's the big thing. I'm not going to touch on that much today because that is evolving so rapidly, which is another reason why you want to be plugged into people like myself or others that are studying this crap daily. You know, this is what we do. We're nerds. I'm working on AI cloning after this. I have it already in my schedule. Like, we're going to upload this, and then the AI influencer, AI cloning, that's the next thing, is going to help syndicate content at a rapid pace. Okay. And then we'll rock and roll on that. I just got to make sure I'm protecting your time. Okay. Okay. So this is the conversion machine. If you do nothing else, let me tell you this, nothing else, get your conversion machine dialed in, and it doesn't matter if you get 100 views or, I mean, it's better. Like 10,000 views is obviously going to get you more volume. I'm letting you know this right now. There are people in your world right now that are visiting YouTube today, in your neighborhood, in your city, that are dealing with problems that you can uniquely solve, but you're not there, or you're not optimized. Okay. Okay, cool. These are some more examples. So I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to go through all of them. What I want to show you though is, like, why do I need a trial error? Bam, it's so good. 59,000 views, 64x what his normal. Boom. 80% of injury claims are worthless because of this. We don't have to make up stuff. The data is already out there. That's 3 years ago. This guy, Jay-Z Helps, he should be making a video about that topic every month of the thing. And it could be super simple. If you have multiple lawyers in your firm, you're like, hey, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And you want them as partners, whatever you want to do. This is how we do. So I'm going to go through the action plan next. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and then I'm going to finish up on module number 3. Hopefully you thought Truck Wreck Masterclass Part 2 is pretty amazing. I kind of did. I thought this was super cool. I get fired up turning great people into great, well-known people. That's what we do. So exciting. So exciting. I'm fired up. Are you fired up? Let's get fired up. All right. Peace out, yo.